Anyway. So yeah, we're gonna start with midpoint. So we said that's gonna be like the middle of 2 points, right? So it's kind of like averaging, right? So if you have 2 test grades of 50 and a 90, and you wanted to know your average, how would you find it? Okay, so what's 50 plus 90? I'm gonna say add and divide by 2. So we said 50 plus 90 is 140. And what's 140 divided by 2? So your average is 70. So let's now put those things on a number line. So your lowest was a 50, so we could have like, we'll go ahead and put it here, 50. Your highest is a 90, so we could put that over here. Now where do you think that 70 is going to fall? Smack dab in the middle?
Yes.
Right, because it's the average. So exactly halfway in the middle, your midpoint is 70. Is that okay? So that's where your midpoint formula comes from. You're just adding the 2 and dividing by 2. Is that okay? So add your 2 points, divide by 2. So we've already said that your midpoint is the middle. Can we just write middle? Is that a good enough definition for you? So a midpoint of a segment is just the middle. M-E-L-E. If I could spell, that'd be cool. So you've got like an illustration of that right here, just like we had up there. So you've got point A on one side, point B on the other. Your midpoint M is in the middle. So your formula, you got to memorize this. You're going to have a quiz on it soon. Is right here. So you add your x's, divide by 2. Add your y's, divide by 2. That's your midpoint formula. Questions? Anything we're not sure about there? Don't understand? Wonderful. All right. So let's go ahead and try it. Y'all ready? Okay, so for the first one here, we've got point A is at 4.8, point B is at 10.20. We want to use our formula. Now, when we were doing slope, do you remember how we labeled them x1, y1, x2, y2? Yeah. Let's do that again, just so that we're sure we're doing the right things here. So x, y, x, y. And if we want to find the midpoint, it tells us to add our x's and divide by 2. So what are our x values? So we'll say 4 plus 10, and then we have to divide by 2. Comma in between, because this is going to be a point, right? It's not just like some random number. It is a point, an ordered pair. And then we're going to do the same thing with our y values. So what are the y's that we're adding? So 8 plus 20. And then what do we have to divide by? 2. So what is 4 plus 10? And what's 14 divided by 2? What is 8 plus 20? And what's 28 divided by 2? 14. So your midpoint is at 7.14. Boom, done. Easy, right? That's it. Well, not really. Are we okay? Questions? Pick one more that we'll do together and you'll do the rest on your own.
2, 4, 7, 5.
Okay, we have 1 through 5. So 2, 3, 4, or 5. 4? I heard 4. We'll do 4. So for number 4, we are going to find the midpoint. So you're adding your x's. Does it help y'all to label x and y? Let's do it just in case. X, y, x, y. So what are our x's that we're adding together?
9.
So 9 plus negative 9. And what do you divide by? 2. Comma in between because this is an ordered pair. What are the y values that we're adding together? So negative 2 plus negative 11. And what are you dividing by? 2. Is that okay?
Yeah.
No, it's just one ordered pair. So 9 plus negative 9, what do you get? 0 divided by 2? 0. Then we've got negative 2 plus negative 11. And what's negative 13 divided by 2? So we could write negative 6.5. What if you don't have your calculator on you? Or
7 or wait, what was it? Whatever over 13 over 2, yeah.
is that okay?
7. I didn't know what it was.
So you can also do that with negative 6.5. Either way is fine. And decimals are fine, right? Because it doesn't always fall on an exact point, right? Is your average always an exact whole number?
Yeah.
No, it's like point something something crazy all the time, right? So that's okay. Decimals are totally fine. Questions? All right, so I want you to do 2, 3, and 5 on your own. Go. Go, go, go.
No, I put the word for 4.
Rookie mistake.
I did it on there. I know, right? Like, they're not putting all of it.
Yep, stop at number 5. So you're just doing 3 problems. Are we already done?
I got one more.
We ready? Yes, we are. Okay, so for number 2, we'll start there at number 2. Do I need to label the points? We're good, right? Okay, so do we need to go through the steps or just answer? Are we good just answers? Can everybody give me some kind of nod that we're good with just answers? Okay, for number 2, Bailey, what'd you get? 113. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Questions? Wonderful. Number 3, Julia, what'd you get?
-8,
5.5 or 11 over 2? What do y'all want me to put? That okay?
You don't need to write both.
I'll do both. It's fine. It's okay.
At least I got it right.
Did we get there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Questions?
Yeah.
Speak now. Forever hold your peace. Your little green peas. Okay. So, Hallie, what'd you get for number 5? Well, do it.
Oh, Hallie.
I got it. So what's negative 4 plus negative 8, y'all? Negative 12 divided by 2. Negative 12 divided by negative 2. Negative 6. Negative 1 plus 5. I heard 2. Anyways. 4 divided by 2. 2. Is that okay?
Yeah.
We all right? Questions? Anything there we don't understand? Alright, so that's the easy part, right?
That wasn't easy.
So sometimes, more likely what they're going to do for y'all is they're going to give you the midpoint and one of the endpoints and ask you for the other endpoint. Okay? So, we're going to find the missing endpoint given these two. So, we have the line AB, so we're going to draw that. We've got the line AB. It says the midpoint is 2, 5. So in the middle, I'm going to have the point 2, 5. And endpoint B is at 7, 12. So I'm going to label that as well. 7, 12. We need to find A. So I think the easiest way to do that, let's just think about this logically. How far did they go, just looking at the X values, from the midpoint to point B, from 2 to 7? 5. So would it not make sense that they have to go 5 in this direction as well?
Correct.
So instead of plus 5 to that 2, what are we going to do? Minus 5. So what is 2 minus 5? Is that okay?
Yeah. So just,
I'm going to write what we did over here just so we've got it. So we did X minus 5 to get there. Now we're going to do the exact same thing with our Y value because you got to have that whole point, right? You got to have the whole order pair. So from 5 to 12, what did they do? They added 7. So how are we going to work backwards?
We're going to subtract 7.
So Y minus 7. So what is 5 minus 7?
-2.
So point A is at -3, -2. I'm going to write that over here because it's a little hard to see where I have it. Is that okay?
yeah.
How can we double check that we are for sure right?
Find the midpoint.
Find the midpoint between A and B, right?
Yeah.
So let's just do that real quick. What's 7 plus -3?
Therefore,
4. And 4 divided by 2?
2.
2. So that checks out. And what's 12 plus -2?
10.
10 divided by 2?
5.
5. So that works. We're good to go. Does that make sense? So I'm going to write that as well. We'll check. So check your work by finding your midpoint just to be sure that you're right, because that's too easy to like mess up over something silly, right? So check your work whenever you can. We're ready to try another one? All right, so this time we got line CD, so I'm going to draw that again. I think the picture is helpful. If you don't need that, then you don't have to draw it, but I'm going to every time. It tells us the midpoint is at -3, 7, so we'll get that going, -3, 7. And then endpoint C is at -6, -13. So I'm going to label that over here. We okay? So we said whatever they did to get from here to here, we'll have to do that again to get over here. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So we're trying to get to the other side. So from -6 to -3, what did they do? They added 3. So they said X plus 3. And they got to -3. So if we want to go halfway again, what do we need to do? We had to add 3 to get here. So add 3 again, right? Does that make sense? So it's a little bit different. I just like to work from left to right because that's how numbers work, so it makes sense in my head. But if you want to go like from -3 to -6, say, okay, what did they do? And you want to do -3 there instead, that makes sense. So whatever you want to do is fine. But if that just confused you, I'm sorry. So we're going to add 3 again to get from the midpoint to the end point. So -3 plus 3, what do we get? 0. So -3 to 0. I was trying to draw that. Hopefully that helps. Which direction we're going. I don't know. Maybe I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be. Then we're going to look at our Y values. Same idea. So from -13 to 7, what did they have to add? 20, right? So from here to here, that was plus 20. So from 7 plus 20, what do we get? we added 20 again. Is that okay? So how would you double check your answer? Find your midpoint. So negative 6 plus 0. Negative 6 divided by 2. Negative 3, that checks out. Negative 13 plus 27. And 14 divided by 2. So that checks out. We all right? Questions on those? So that's as complicated as it gets for your midpoints, y'all. Are we all good with that? Any questions on midpoint at all? So we're good to go? All right, good, because we're changing gears. So we got midpoint and distance today. So distance, what do you think that tells you? How far apart they are. So midpoint tells you where the middle is. Distance tells you how far apart they are. So midpoint, your answer was an ordered pair because it was another point, right? And distance is a distance, so it's got to be just one number. Our formula is right here. Now this looks crazy complicated and there's a ton of stuff going on, right? So the way I think of it, when you set up your formula, it kind of looks like an owl. So you've got your big square root. And then we got parentheses that are kind of like your little owl's eyeballs. And owls have eyes like slits. So we're going to do little slits for his eyes. Those are your minuses that are in here. And this is a little girl owl and she needs eyelashes. So we're going to put some squares. And she needs a nose. So that's our plus sign in between. Is that okay? So that's your distance formula. So I tell you to like draw the owl, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to do that every time, so hopefully you'll like memorize it as you go through that. So once you've got it set up, all you have to do is put your x's together and put your y's together. So just like we did for midpoint, we put x and x, and we'll do y and y. And then we can type this straight in our calculator, and we'll be all done. Is that okay? There might be. We're going to work through one without the calculator first, just so we know how, because it's not bad. And then we'll do the rest with the calculator later. But yeah, and try to do as much as you can without it. So we're going to find the distance between 2, 4, and 5, 10. So the first thing we want to do is label them. So we're going to label x, y, just so we know what to put together once we've got our owl set up. So we are going to draw our owl down here and then just plug in. So again, you got that big square root. And then how are we making the eyeballs? Your parentheses. And inside the parentheses to make his eyes, what do you mean? Your little minus signs. She needs eyelashes, so what do we put? Squares. And how do we put a nose? Plus. Is that okay? Do you kind of see how it looks like a little owl? Or y'all just think that I'm tripping? It's cute? Good. Alright. So we got to put our x's in the first set of parentheses. So what x values are we putting in?
2 and 5.
So we'll put 2. We'll put a 5. And then we're going to put our y values in the second set of parentheses.
4 and 10.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, or doesn't matter, as long as it's the same for both of them. Are we alright? Questions? Okay. So, we're going to simplify by doing inside the parentheses first. So, we'll still have our big square root. What is 2 minus 5? So, we've got negative 3 squared. And then what is 4 minus 10? We all right with that? So, then we're going to square. So, what is negative 3 squared? And what is negative 6 squared?
36.
Now we can add. So what is 9 plus 36? Is 45 a perfect square? Can we take the square root of 45? Not nicely. So type that in your calculator. And we get like, I think it's 6 point something. 6.7. So we can round that to 6.7. Is that okay? When we start this practice here in a second, I think most of the problems around 1 decimal place. So we'll just, we'll do that from here on out. Just round 1 decimal place anytime we get around. Does that sound fair? Okay. So, again, you can do this by hand. You can work it all out, and it's not too hard, right? You just do one thing at a time. You can also, once you get it set up here, type this straight into the calculator. So I'm going to show you how to do that on the next one. So again, we have 1 through 5. Pick 2 that you want to do. 1 and 4. So do y'all want to do one more by hand? Just in case this pops up on the inactive section, because it might. It really might. I don't know that they wouldn't do that to you. So let's do one more by hand, and then we'll do number 4 on the calculator. So we got to set up our owl. So you got a big square root. So again, anytime you find a distance, you're doing your little owl. And how do you make his eyes? Or her eyes? And inside parentheses? How do you make the slits for the eyes? Minus. She's cute. She needs eyelashes. Squares. And she needs a nose. So what do you do? Plus. Is that okay? Are we starting to memorize how to set that up yet? Good. So what goes in the first set of parentheses? Our x's, so 3 and 7. And then in our second set, we'll put our y's. So what are we going to put over there? -5 and 2. Good. So what is 3 minus 7? So we've got -4 squared. Plus, what's -5 minus 2? So -7, and that's all squared. So then we can square those things. So what is -4 squared? 16. So 16 plus, what is -7 squared? 7 squared? 49. And what is 16 plus 49? And is 65 a perfect square? No, so let's see what that is. It's 8 point what? It's 8.06, so that 6 makes it round up, so let's go 8.1. Is that okay? Questions? Anything we're not sure about?
Wait, so you put both your x's in the first and then with your y's?
X's together, y's together. Just like we do for midpoint, where you put your x's together, divide by 2, y's together. I'm sorry?
Just with the square root. It's the same thing, just with the square root.
Not quite. Because you got to square and add them together, and then square root. And don't ever divide by 2.
You have to like draw it out each time, like do this each time.
Okay. So for number 4, we'll do this one in the calculator, but we still got to set it up. So you need your owl. So draw your big square root. Then what do we need? Parentheses. How do we make the slits for the eyes? Minus. Eyelashes? Squared. And the nose? Plus. So what are our x's this time? We're on number 4. Are we on number 4? Y'all, can you do number 4 real quick? I see a lot of you writing on number 2. Go to number 4. Number 4. So on number 4, what are our x values here? 9 and -3. Make sure you put that negative on the 3, even though there's already a minus sign there. Because what's going to happen when you minus a -3? It's going to add. And is that different from just regular 9 minus 3? Absolutely. So you'll get a different answer if you don't do that. And then what are our y values here? -4 and 8. So we're going to type this straight in the calculator, exactly as you have it written, okay? So we need a big square root, so control x squared, that'll get you your square root. Can y'all see this okay? And then we have a parenthesis, so what are you going to type? What are you going to type? Parentheses, then what? Minus -3. Close your parentheses, because that's what we wrote next. And square it. Parentheses, -4 minus 8. Close your parentheses, then square it.
Wait, minus 8 or plus 8? Minus 8. -4 minus 8.
We all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so hit enter. Done. So we could say 97, so you could say about 17. Let's go 16.97 because I don't want to say the whole number 17 because that's not quite accurate. Questions? Anything we're not sure about or don't understand? So can y'all do 2, 3, and 5? Okay. done, guys. After it looks like we got most of the right answers here. So we're just gonna go over it real quick. Thomas, what needs to go in this set of parentheses for number 2? Good. And Ashley, what goes in the second set? Good. Keelan, what's our answer end up being there? 15. Just 15, right? When you take the square root, you get 220, or of 225, you get 15. So our final answer is just 15 there, right? So distance is one number as your answer. Midpoint is an ordered pair, right? So is this going to be an ordered pair? No, just one number, okay? For number 3, Catherine, what'd you put in the first set of parentheses? Good. Tori, what goes in the second set? 7 and negative 7. Good. Michael, what was our answer? 14. Questions on that? We all right? Okay. Chloe, what goes in the first set of parentheses for number 5? Negative 3, negative 2. And Noah, what goes in the second set? The second set of parentheses is just your y values there. So what are they? There you go. Haley, what was our answer? There you go. Questions? Anything we're not sure about, don't understand? Great. Okay, so out in the hallway, we've got some stations, and you got your answer sheet